Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweet Philly Radio.
What is up, everybody? It's a familiar face in a familiar location. Rudy Campos Jr. back, man. And you know what? It's finally good to be back. We've got, as you can tell, a lot of stuff going on here. Kind of catching up right now. We're letting everybody know we've got our own YouTube channel. You can find us on Twitter, on the TikTok, which I'm still trying to learn a lot of this stuff here. Like I've always said, I'm an old man trying to play in a young man's game here when it comes to technology, but we are back. We're going to be back this week with a lot of sports talk. It's going to be myself. It's Derek Gervin. Rocky's going to be here. Gio's coming along for the ride. We're also bringing back an old familiar face from Sweep the League back in the day. Austin Hartsfield, our MLB expert, is going to be joining us from time to time. We got a whole lot of stuff going on. Just, quick insight, man. I mean, we're going to be diving anywhere from the major sports like, I don't know, NBA, NFL, MLB. We're going to talk a little bit about hockey. I've got a little bit of knowledge about hockey, but we got a couple of hockey guys that we're going to talk to coming on here all the way into the wonderful world of bowling. Yeah, bowling. Hey, I'm a bowler, so we're going to talk bowling as well. I've got some guests lined up for bowling as well, some professional bowlers, some PWBA bowlers as well. So a lot's going to be coming from Sweep the League. We're on our own network now. Also, we are part of the Sports Insanity Network. You want to drop a comment, drop it on Twitter, drop it on YouTube. Best place for you to catch us is on our YouTube page. I will be sharing that out for everybody as well, so that way you can subscribe to our YouTube page. Hey, we get to 1,000 YouTube subscribers very, very quick. I got some autograph stuff from players that we're going to be giving away. I've got Lids. Hey, shout out to Lids, man. Lids has been with us for a long time. We've got a bunch of Lids gift cards that we've got to give away. Also, real quick, La Cocina food truck. That is going to be another company on board with Sweep the League. La Cocina food truck. It's up in New Braunfels here. It's my neck of the woods since I moved up here, but up in New Braunfels out here, La Cocina food truck. Check it out. It's the best. You have street tacos. You got to get your food truck kicked. Definitely check out La Cocina food truck. But man, it's good. It just feels good to be back. I mean, it's going to be great to be back, to have all the crew back. And we've been on a little hiatus. We've been getting all this ready for you guys so that way we can jump on everywhere, talk everything, MLB, NBA, NFL, boxing, a lot of stuff. Kind of kick it with me right now. You guys got any questions, anything, leave comments. I've got the comments going here. Can read your comments if you want to leave them on, like I said, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. If we can get to them, we'll read them out here for everybody. But again, good to be back. It's Rudy Campos Jr. Man, I want to get into a little bit of Spurs talk here because the draft is coming up. Obviously, the Spurs have the 4th and 8th pick. And, everybody was so high on Topic from overseas. And I get it. The injury to Topic it's gonna derail him a little bit, even though it's not gonna affect him very much. It's gonna derail his draft status a little bit. I think more fans and more people are leaning more towards Stephon Castle out of UConn. I updated my big board for the San Antonio Spurs, my big 3 basically for 4 and 8 for the San Antonio Spurs. This was about a week ago on Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia. My top 3 right now going into the draft for the San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, Stephon Castle is number 1 for the San Antonio Spurs. Nice point guard out of UConn. I know shooting is his weakness, but again, I believe the shooting touch will come when time in the NBA. Very explosive guy. He's everything that you kind of want for the Spurs right now. You get a young guard, you get a guy who can play the point guard position. And I like Stephon Castle out of UConn. Makes a lot of sense. I'm not a really big Dillingham guy. I'm not a big Reed Shepherd guy. In fact, as of right now with Reed Shepherd, I actually have him in between that 12, 13, all the way to 19 range as far as being drafted keep in mind the draft here is not a very good draft. 2025 draft is going to be the draft where you want as many draft picks, as much draft value as you want. You're going to get it in 2025. Cooper Flag, Hugo Gonzalez is another guy you want to watch out for. Hugo is going to definitely be a name to watch. Hugo Gonzalez is the international guy. You got a bunch of guys coming out next year as well, but that's number one is Stephon Castle for me out of UConn for the Spurs. And I like him at number 4. I really think he can go into the top 4. Honestly, I think they could trade down a couple of picks possibly to get Stephon Castle right around that 6-7 range possibly. I think you could still get him there. Right now you're seeing kids like Alex R, Risa Share going at the 1 and 2 position. If Houston decides to keep if they decide to keep the third pick as well, I like Klingon from UConn there for Houston. They need a lot of help with Steven Adams, often injured there. They got to get younger. He's going to be a nice fit next to Sengun there in Houston. But again, Castle at 4. I could see this person taking Castle at 4. Number 2 on my big board, Dalton Connect. You're probably thinking this kid is probably like in the 13, 14, 15 range. Go Google him. Do the research on Dalton Connect. This kid is a bucket getter. A bucket getter. I personally like a backcourt of Castle and Connect if you have to go with the 4 and 5 spots. I like those two kids. That's a very good backcourt, a very young, good backcourt to play alongside of Victor Wembanyama. Devin Vassell can slide back into the 3 position. Then you would give them a nice little perimeter trio in Vassell, Dalton Connect, and Stephon Castle. Let me get into a couple of them. Hey, Sith is out there. Rudy with the exclamation point. I told you we'll be back, man. I tell you we'll be back. We're going to be coming to you during the day. We're going to be coming to you at nights. We're going to do a couple of shows here and there. We got a lot of content coming. I'm going to have to share the YouTube page for everybody. Thank you for joining in, Sith. I'm also share the TikTok. We got TikTok. We got a lot of stuff going on, man. Tons of stuff. My boy Chris Leha. Hey, man. What's good, big dog, man? You know what? I've been hungry to get back on the mic, and we've got all this stuff squared away, man. Good to see all you guys back in. Drop your comments here. Trade the picks, Leha. We're going to get into that. I'm going to get into that. Give me a couple minutes here. We're going to get into that here. We're talking about trading the picks as well, so keep tuned in. We're going to get into that here as well. What in the world you been? I haven't been hiding. I've been muted a little bit here, so. Now that we can finally get everything going, we got everything squared away. We're back, Tim. Your favorite show. I've been hearing about another show that's been your favorite. All these people say favorite. Your favorite show. The show is back in town. We've all got it going here. Yeah, hey man. Tar Heels #1, man. I know you're a Blue Devils fan. You got the cap on there. Appreciate you joining on, Tim. Draft at 4, trade the 8th. Again, Sid. Stay with me on this. Stay with me because definitely it's going to be something I'm going to talk about here when it comes to the silver and black and the draft. USA crew missed you, young. Oh, yeah, man, I missed the USOA crew. And again, shout out to the USOA crew, man. I heard we got a lizard now that's a part of the crew. Shout out to the lizard, man. Shout out to the USOA crew. For those of y'all that don't know, it's a vibe, brother. It's a vibe. USOA. They got t-shirts. I'm going to share the link for some t-shirts. You guys want to order it? Definitely want to get a part of that. USOA crew, man. Miss you guys. Love you guys. And of course, there you go. Hey, they got the shirt. We got the shirt. So I'm going to go pick up the shirt. That way I can wear it here on Sweep the League. Appreciate it, Chris. Appreciate everybody for joining in. Getting back to the draft, man. So I had Stephon Castle at 1, Dalton Connect at number 2. Who's my third? Now, the third is a very big long shot. And actually, nobody was talking about him until I started talking to him with Jeff Garcia. And I jumped on Jeff's show talking about draft stuff. And I mentioned the name Tijan Saloon, an overseas kid. He's only 18, but if you're looking at a kid who can develop, and I know we always hear the stash and draft type for Saloon, and you've seen the Spurs do it a lot of times. You go all the way from Jack Tovis to Luis Scola, who never played for the Spurs, but again, another drafted stash guy, Thiago Splitter, Alberto. You got a bunch of guys who are drafted stash for a while for the Spurs, and you don't want to hear those words draft and stash, especially when you're in a rebuild. But Saloon is a kid that you've got to give him time. Not to bake, not to cook. He's there. He's right there. You just got to you pull him out of the oven. You just got to let him sit for a while. You got to let him rest because he's cooked. He's ready to go. He just needs a little bit of seasoning. He's a little bit of seasoning. And that's where I think at number 8, if they have a chance to get Tajen Saloon, if both Castro and Canet are gone, maybe you got one of them already. But Saloon is a kid where you want to get. You're going to allow him to develop with the Victor Wembanyama. He's going to eventually the type of kid where he can replace a Jeremy Sohan in the lineup. He's going to be a lot more athletic. He can shoot the ball. I've said it before on Jeff Garcia's show on Locked On Spurs. You're talking about a kid who right now the ceiling for most scouts out there are kind of seeing what I kind of saw a little bit. And if you think about it, it could happen. He's almost like a Giannis type of player. He is very, very, very athletic. And Saloon is a kid who I think is a sleeper pick for the San Antonio Spurs at 8. Can they trade down and draft him? They sure as hell can trade down and draft Saloon. Tajon Saloon is number 3 on my Spurs big board for the top 3 picks for 4 and 8. We're going to get into some more Spurs talk. I enjoy all you guys coming back on the show. Spurs draft another player. Just giving me a hard time. Brother, man, if they're going to draft another Duke player, hopefully it's 2025. They sneak in and get that number 1 pick and they get one Cooper Flag out of out of Duke, man. I mean, we all know how that goes, right? All these Duke Blue Devils out here. Going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here in just a couple of seconds. This is Sweep the League, Rudy Campos Jr. We're back, folks. We're back. We'll get into more Spurs draft talk, a couple other things as well. We'll be right back.
Hi, it's Sherilyn, and you're watching Sweep the League. Subscribe and share.
Rudy Campos Jr. here from Sweep the League. Hey, make sure you go and follow Sherilyn on Instagram. Just search official Sherilyn on Instagram. Yeah, go follow Sherilyn on Instagram. Definitely a supporter of Sweep the League. Follow her on Instagram, Sherilyn. Just search the official Sherilyn on Instagram. Give her a follow. She's a great follower out there. We are Rudy Campos Jr. Says Sweep the League. We are back talking about some Spurs. I didn't expect to talk a whole lot tonight. I kind of just expected to let everybody know what was going on. We're back. We're part of the Sports Insanity Network. Shout out to Mark Halpern out there. All you guys out there, Sports Insanity Network. Follow them on Facebook. It's a great sports group. I do some work for them as well. We'll be on there as well. We're covering for the Sports Insanity Network based out of New York. We made it. We're in the Big Apple now. So Sweep things up in the Big Apple now. Some things you guys didn't know right away. But hey, man, we're going to get into some NBA news, and it's going to be Spurs talk. Let's talk about those draft picks. So the biggest thing is everybody wants to trade down. Now you're thinking, okay, weak draft at 4 and 8. This is not the year that you want a top 10 picks. I definitely don't. You don't want it this year. You want it next year. Next year when you've got, is it generational talent next year? It's superstar talent next year. It's star talent next year. It's difference makers next year. But you're going to have superstar talent next year as well. So that being said, let's look at this year's draft. Now, at 4 and 8, you've got some guys that are excited. You've got some guys that are like, man, we need to trade down. We need to trade them away. We don't want these draft picks. I get both sides. I can see both sides of the fence because you can trade the draft picks. Now, one guy mentioned is Darius Garland out of Cleveland. I've mentioned Donovan Mitchell out of Cleveland as well. He's another guy. You're seeing a lot of guys coming up here. Phoenix is going to blow it up. So what are they going to do? Are they going to keep KD? Are they going to keep Devin Booker? They're going to probably have to move on from one of those guys. I don't think they're going to be able to move on from Bradley Beal. Really, nobody wants Bradley Beal anyway. I mean, let's be real. Nobody wants Bradley Beal. If you're going to want anybody, it's going to be Booker or Kevin Durant. Which one are they going to get rid of? They're probably going to have to get rid of somebody. Let's look at the Clippers. Paul George is already going to be rumored to want out of LA. Now, the possibility there, does Kawhi want to still be a Clipper? I really feel the Clippers want to go into their new arena with Kawhi being a Clipper. They're not going to worry about Harden. Harden's going to want out already. So you're going to have guys that are going to be available here. Jimmy Butler's another one. He's being rumored to go to Philadelphia. So you're going to have those superstar type guys out there, and they're going to be looking to move. Can the Spurs be a player? Well, with the 4th and 8th pick, the first destination is Phoenix, guys, because Phoenix really doesn't have a draft pick technically until 2029. If they're a team that wants to get better and improve, they're going to need some draft picks to do that. A guy like a Keldon Johnson, maybe the 4th and 8th pick, could potentially land you a guy from Phoenix. Is it Durant? Is it Booker? Nobody really knows. The Spurs have a lot of flexibility right now. So, I mean, it's safe to say that Phoenix is one of those teams that can definitely look at maybe possibly trading because they're going to get 2 first-rounders in return. So could Phoenix be in play for that? It's a good possibility. Are you going to – which one of the 2 guys would you want? Would you want a Kevin Durant? Would you want a Devin Booker? Personally, I think Devin Booker works a lot better than Kevin Durant does in San Antonio. Look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. If they really want to move on from Darius Garland, which it probably is looking like they do, they're going to want to probably re-sign Donovan Mitchell. The Mitchell-Garland backcourt didn't really work for Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell definitely needs to be on the ball a lot more. Garland is a true point guard. Does that solve the point guard issues in San Antonio? It actually does. It resolves it. Darius Garland would be a tremendous fit for San Antonio. And I think you wouldn't really have to give up a whole lot. You're probably looking at Keldon Johnson. Again, I'm mentioning Keldon Johnson because Keldon Johnson is going to be the popular guy, the most talked about guy. When it comes to being traded, Keldon Johnson is going to be that guy. He's got a salary that fits with a lot of teams out there when it comes to making the numbers work. What do you trade with Keldon? Is it probably going to be the 4th pick or the 8th pick? Either one is perfectly fine because if you're going to keep either one, personally, I'd rather keep the 8th pick. Because if you're keeping the 8th pick, it's less on the salary and it doesn't hit your salary cap as hard, obviously, as the 4th pick does. But say you go with Garland, you're going to probably give up maybe Keldon, maybe a 4th, the 4th round pick. You may have to give up another pick in a future draft, probably a couple of 2nd rounders at best. Another popular guy at the beginning of the year, which I really am glad that the smoke is starting to clear. And it's not talked about a whole lot more, in my opinion, is the Trae Young and even the DeJounte Murray talk. Christopher Leha's in here. I'm not even looking at 2025 class. I want proven talent. I think everybody wants proven talent right now. Everybody they want to win now. Let's be real. They want to win now. Everybody's afraid of Victor leaving. Come on, guys. Victor's not going anywhere. You've got him through his rookie contract. You've got him for the extension. The max deal is going to be tremendous for him to stay in San Antonio. The Spurs are going to be able to pay him more than any other team. You've got to believe that who cares if Brian Wright is running the ship or not? You've got to believe that this Spurs team will surround Victor Wembanyama with talent because players are going to want to play for them. And that's where I feel that Victor adds a lot more. They saw exactly what Victor can do on the court this year. I was not a Victor believer in the beginning. I had my doubts. I mean, you're talking about a 7'4" guy. When you talk about a player that tall, the first thing you hit is injuries, injury concerns. Knock on wood, Victor had a very, very promising year. I think his minutes restriction was just more it's not even a concern. It was just more of a take your time. Let's just work your way in. Let's ease back into it type thing. But everybody does want to play with Victor Wembanyama. You saw the talent. So, like, I'm not against that. Everybody wants proven talent. They want to win now. I totally understand that. Citizens here, it's better than what's available this year. We can't let this year's picks go to waste. On my episode of Los, I mentioned big team running back. Being team running back, trade the picks. That's tough to say because this is where I fall in. This is where I fall in here. If you're running the exact same team back, how many more wins does that improve for the Spurs? They were at 22. Do you see them getting to 30? Probably not. I don't see now. Okay, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit here. The West is probably gonna be blown up. Golden State's a team that's gonna be blown up more than likely. You're probably gonna see Clay gone. Let's look at. I mentioned the Clippers earlier. That whole group's gonna be broken up. I don't think they keep Paul George. I don't think they keep Harden. I think they're going to be – I think they may keep Russ, but they may not at the same time. Phoenix is another team that's going to be blown up. Phoenix is another team that's going to be blown up there. One of those guys I feel has to go in order for that to work. Let's look at the other guys, the other teams here in the West. I mean, we're not really about Portland. We're not too much worried about Portland. We're not worried about Portland. Houston is a team that is gelling. That's another team to worry about. Denver is a 5-man team right now. Their bench play in the playoffs was the demise. Can they build that bench up? We've seen Jamal Murray have some very, very tough season, very, very tough injuries this season. Jamal Murray might be a guy they look at because they've got to add more talent, but I don't see them moving Jamal Murray at all. Sacramento's another team. You've got Sabonis, you've got Fox, but ideally, do they move any of those guys? I mean, I think the West is going to be the most active this offseason than the East, 100%. You may see a lot of guys go out east. You may see a Paul George go out east. You may see possibly Devin go out east. One guy you might see come out west, back west, is possibly, he said he wants to stay in Chicago, but DeMar DeRozan's another guy that might be on the move. You may see a guy like Trae Young come over to the West, possibly with the Lakers. Again, maybe with the Spurs. I don't like that. I'll get into that here in just a little bit. So, Sith, I get you run the same team back, but again, how many more wins does that add to a 22-win team? If the West kind of blows up a little bit, can you see them getting to 30 wins? I mean, that's tough. I don't see them getting to 30 wins, to be honest with you. Not right now if it's the same team. They've got a lot to work on. So they're going to need a couple of players to come in, whether it be draft picks, whether it be a free agents, veterans, trades or something, to get them, to my opinion, to that 30, 32, 33 win team. Again, we won't know till the season, the offseason actually gets here. This is Rudy Campos Jr. Great question, Sith. I appreciate everybody in here. Swiss, what's good, Rudy? Always enjoying the podcast. Swiss, much love to you, man. Thank you for joining us here tonight. It's myself only right now, but guys are going to be joining us here throughout the week. We are back. It's going to be evenings. It's going to be during the day. You're going to catch us just about all the time. Hell, we may even interrupt other podcasts. I don't really give a shit, to be honest with you. Appreciate you, Swiss, for being in here. Robert's in here. I want at least one key role player from this draft. I think Castle would be a huge defensive upgrade for us that can guard 1 to 4 and also a big potential on the offensive side. Ding, ding, ding. Robert, you hit it right on the head there. Stephon Castle. I actually had him previously, and in fact, I released a mock draft, my very first mock draft. And I've even told Jeff Garcia on Locked On Spurs, check out Locked On Spurs. You'll catch me on there a whole lot. Stephon Castle is my number 1 rated prospect coming into this draft. 100% number 1 rated prospect. I feel that if he works on his jump shot and he gets a little more consistent, look for him to be probably around the SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander type player. Again, people say, well, this ain't no superstars. Again, this is based off of potential. This is all prospect talk. So I can see him being just as good as SGA. He's got the quickness. He's got the talent. He's got the explosiveness. He's just got to work on that jumper. So, Robert, I mean, Castle is a massive, massive pick for the San Antonio Spurs. I could definitely see him at number 4 for the Spurs. Great comment. Appreciate you joining on. My boy's in here. I'm in the room, baby. Yes, you are in the room. Hey, man, shout out, dude. I ended up showing my wife the picture because y'all two went to high school. And yeah, that was a really good memory. Appreciate that love, brother, man. We need shooters. We are set on defense. Partnering up Wemby with a Durant Clay would be iconic. I definitely love the Clay. You guys that have been following me for a while here know that I am a massive Klay Thompson supporter for being on the San Antonio Spurs. Again, defensive liability, I don't care. You've got 7'4" of length behind you. So defensively, they're fine. I think if they were to get a Klay Thompson, add shooting. You don't ask for a whole lot for Klay. You're not expecting a whole lot from Klay. Klay on a cheap end. Now, when I say cheap end, I'm talking, I think I mentioned the $8 to $9 million a year would be good for me. I'm okay with that right there. To me, that makes a lot more sense for Klay. Durant, honestly, I probably would take Booker over Durant. And just for me, I would prefer a guy like Devin Booker over KD. Great comments. Appreciate it. Let's be honest. F them picks. Yeah, that's the consensus. The consensus is basically, you know what? Trade the picks. We don't need the picks. Trade the picks. We don't need them. We want to gear up for next year's draft, all this other stuff. At times, you may think because a lot of NBA teams and GMs feel that this draft class is very, very low, It's probably considered going to be one of the worst draft classes. Hopefully not, but it probably is going to be considered one of the worst draft classes. A lot of teams aren't rushing to trade for some of these picks. So we're gonna go with picks. Like I said, I gave you my big board Swiss. It's Castle, it's Connect, and it's Saloon as the top three. F team, run it back. Let's effing make moves and win now. Leha, they got to make moves if they want to win now. I agree. I've never just said that. Guys that I mentioned, Donovan Mitchell. I'm not a big Trae Young guy. I'm not even a big DeJounte Murray guy, to be honest with you. I think that ship is sailed. I'm not huge on the Trae Young thing right now. I like Donovan Mitchell. One kid that I'll even mention another kid here, Larry Markkinen is a guy who I could definitely see as adding, the 5 to 6, maybe even to 10 wins right next to Wemby. If you get a Larry Markkinen out of Utah, maybe I would definitely trade some value and some assets for a Larry Markkinen out of Utah. Great shooter, can play defense. He can score at will. Larry Markkinen next to Victor Wembanyama is a very, very good pairing. If Nuggets blow up, what are the chances of us getting Jamal Murray? I think you left the comment. I just answered your question on Jamal. I'm a fortune teller, ball, man. I don't know about the fortune teller part, but I do try my best, and I really hope I do know my game. So that makes me feel a little bit good there that I do follow it enough. So appreciate them. But yeah, fortune telling is my thing. Apparently, Tim's in here. If they bring back the team next year, Spurs will likely win 30 games. I think that would be the high end. That would be the ceiling. 30 games is probably the ceiling for me when it comes to the Spurs winning next year. I just don't see the same team winning 30 games. If you bring the exact same guys back, I have them probably around the 26, 27 win game at the most. Could they get to 30? They could get to 30, but would that be a play-in team? I don't even think it's a play-in team, to be honest with you right now. Clippers blow it up, we go all in. Man, if the Clippers blow it up, I guarantee you want a certain number 2 back in San Antonio. Imagine that kind of pairing, 2 great defensive presence in Victor and the man who will not be mentioned that starts with the letter K and ends in OY. Man, that would be a really hell of a pairing there if they comes back. Send Collins to the Shanghai Sharks, man. You never know. I think Collins, to be honest, Leha, I think Collins would probably be part of a deal. If you trade for a veteran, I think because Keldon is probably going to be one of the guys gone. I think Zach Collins and even a Devontae Graham, those 2 guys are going to be a part of any deal, no matter where it is. I think one of those guys is going to be along for the ride. Nothing against Zach Collins. He's a great backup center. I do see the flaws in his game, but again, he's not a superstar. He's not a great center in the league. So he's a backup guy. He can start on some teams, but I think ultimately he's going to be a part of a trade wherever it does happen for the Spurs. Real quick, our savior Kawhi. Like I said, I didn't want to mention his name, but since did, so we're going to mention the name. One guy I did mention was Larry Markkinen. Man, Larry Markkinen is a kid out of Utah. Him in the silver and black would be amazing for the San Antonio Spurs. But I really think the one guy they do have on their radar, possibly, Darius Garland is mentioned a lot. I do think they have Donovan Mitchell on their radar as well. They're kind of seeing what happens in Cleveland because Jared Allen is another guy that's actually on the move. Now, I'm not saying he's a part of the San Antonio Spurs by any means, but knowing that Cleveland, they just fired Bickerstaff, which is kind of head scratching. You got them to the playoffs in back-to-back years. The team, ultimately the team just, you had the Allen injury. You had all the issues with Allen. Mitchell goes down. It was bad time like the Knicks. The Knicks had a bunch of injuries in the playoffs and heading into the playoffs that I think if they were healthy, I could definitely have seen the Knicks possibly in the Eastern Conference Finals. They're that good. But you've got a lot of guys that are going to be available. And it's a lot of teams that are going to be looking to move pieces to get ready for the upcoming season, probably with draft picks. Some teams probably want to shed some salary cap space as well. So a lot of guys out there, a lot of definite guys out. I don't have a favorite player. I don't believe in fan favorites or me neither, man. I'm a Spurs fan. I love myself, San Antonio Spurs. but I love the NBA. I love the NBA as well. So I follow the league just like I love the NFL and MLB. So yeah, no favorite players in my book. Package a deal that involves Mike Jimenez. You can take that up with Alamo City and those guys out there. But if you want to package Jimenez, trade Jimenez wherever you want to trade him to. It doesn't matter to me. Kawhi is a snake, man. You know, Kawhi's a snake. You feel how you feel about Kawhi. That's perfectly fine. Like I let's just say this for a fact. He's not going to ever be a part of the USOA. That is damn sure. He's not eligible to be a USOA member. Now you got me praying. What would you think it would take to get a marketing? I'll work on that for you right now, actually, Robert. To get a Larry marketing, man, it's kind of tough because I mean you got to look at numbers. I think you're going to have to obviously look at possibly trading Keldon Johnson. I think that's going to be the one guy that you're going to definitely have to look at moving just about anywhere. Like I said, let me bring up the trade machine here. We'll see what we can do here. And the marketing thing, it's not talked about a lot, but it's definitely a good possibility. So Laurie's got about it. He's got $18 million left on 1 year. So him and Keldon actually are match for match. They are definitely right. I would say right now you're probably looking Keldon for Laurie. You may want to throw in more than likely a pick from this year, probably a protected pick for next year. Not saying Atlanta's are your own, but maybe if you're looking at the Chicago pick coming up in a couple of years, honestly, I don't even mind if they were to put the 2025 Spurs pick next year. As long as you keep Atlanta's pick, I like the Atlanta's pick more than I like the Spurs pick because if you're adding marketing, then you're talking about a team that's probably going to the 33, 34, 35 range minimum on wins. So you're getting a lower lottery pick. So marketing to me, if you're giving up the Spurs 2025 pick, possibly a couple of second rounders, that marketing deal looks pretty damn good. Not only that, I mean, you've got him, you're obviously on his own 1 year left. So if it doesn't work out, you shed Keldon's salary, marketing becomes a free agent. You don't really lose anything, to be honest with you. I mean, let's be honest, that's really not much. And Laurie seems to be a guy that is pretty consistent when it comes to staying with the team. I mean, he's really just been traded, and a lot of it has been traded because it's to make the numbers work and because of the potential that Markkanen has. So keep in mind, Lauri Markkanen is a guy that I definitely would love to have. So for Robert, for you out there, we're talking to Keldon for Laurie, possibly more draft picks, maybe one of the picks this season, the Spurs pick next season, not Atlanta's, just the Spurs pick going into next season. Maybe a couple of second rounders that would definitely work for them over there, because then you're talking about, you guys still got John Collins, Colin Sexton is there, Jordan Clarkson's is still there as well. So you've got a good team in Utah right there. They might be wanting to shed it. 2025 free agency market is crazy. I've been telling you guys, 2025 is the off season for the San Antonio Spurs. I do not expect this team to be competitive unless they make massive moves this off season. I do not expect the Spurs team to be massively competitive until the 2025-2026 season. I've been saying it for the longest time. 2025-2026 season is when you see this whole ship being turned around. That's it. Turn it around. That's where my focus is, because all these draft picks that the Spurs have, if they still keeping them and they're still right up in the top 10, you're going to get the talent. You're going to get the immediate talent here. Sid Wolf's won, by the way. So we're going to, we're going to game 5. I picked Dallas in 5. So now I need Dallas to show up. So shout out to Wolves on getting that victory every day. Well, come on, man. We know you're on the Kawhi. Robert says he loved that package for Laurie here. And of course, he's giving him the yellow card for Leha because he's talking bad about Kawhi Leonard. Why not? I mean, it is sweep the league. We go now yellow cards, red cards, everything like that here. Let me take a quick break, guys. We'll be back here to last segment of the show here before we drop it off. This is Sweep the League. Again, thanks for everybody for being here, man. Appreciate everybody joining me tonight. We're up to 68 views. That's pretty damn good for the first night back. Again, everybody who joined me back here. A lot of Spurs talk. I didn't intend to talk this much Spurs, but we'll be right back here, talk a little bit more Spurs. Then we'll get into some MLB talk real quick here. This is Sweep the League, Rudy Campos Jr.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweet the League Radio.
Hi, it's Sherilyn, and you're watching Sweep the League. Subscribe and share.
Rudy Campos Jr. here from Sweep the League. Hey, make sure you go and follow Sherilyn on Instagram. Just search official Sherilyn on Instagram. Hey, shout out to George Gervin, the Iceman. George Gervin giving us a shout out here on Sweep the League. Guys, you want to join us here? YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I will be sharing that out. May subscribe. We get up to 1,000 subscribers. I've got autographs. I got a ton of stuff. We've been stockpiling stuff. Lids has always been a huge thing for Sweep the League here. So we've got a bunch of stuff. We've been stockpiling, getting ready for this relaunch here. Shout out to Sports Insanity Network. Up Mark Halper and up all those guys up north who are part of the Sports Insanity Network as well. Shout out to Sherilyn, the official Sherilyn. Go follow her on Instagram. Great follow. A friend of the show. We've got some interviews coming up. We've got tons of stuff coming up, guys. Like I said, all the way from NBA, NFL, all the way to the wonderful world of bowling, PWBA, PBA bowlers. We're reaching out to a lot of those guys. I'm a bowler, so talking to some of these people is going to be fun. You get to get involved in another aspect of another sporting event, another aspect of sports. Something that I truly enjoy. Wolves the 7th day coming back. I seriously doubt that, man. But at the end of the day, I've said it before, 25-26, man. That's the season for the San Antonio Spurs. That's where I'm looking at the whole thing turns around. So we're going to see what happens this offseason. We got a lot more coverage of the San Antonio Spurs in the offseason. We'll see what free agent does for them. We'll see what the draft comes in. We'll come in with a little bit of draft tidbits here pretty soon. We'll come up with some more trades and stuff like that, see what we can do for the San Antonio Spurs. Shout out to Jeff Garcia, Locked On Spurs. Shout out, Jeff. I'm on Locked On Spurs a whole lot. I'll be on this week as well. I'll be on Thursday. So we're talking a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about NBA. I'm not going to spill the beans just yet, but you'll definitely catch me on Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia. We got Nate Lee in here. Spurs will win 32-plus games next year. Question, Nate. Drop it in the comments here. Love the comment, by the way. A, what makes you think they win 32-plus? Do they bring back the same team? You feel they win 32-plus? Or do you feel they make a massive move in the offseason to get them to 32-plus? Right now, team as is. No moves. I think I've said it before. I think they're going to keep the same team and get these draft picks in. It's just going to be the same team. Personally, that's what I think. But team as is. Without the draft picks. I don't know who they're going to draft. It's going to change my mind. But without the draft picks, this team right now, 28-27 wins. That's me. 27-28 wins as is. 5 to 6 plus more. Wemby adds that much more next year. Shout out to Heffa. Thank you, Seth. You say Wemby does it all by himself. I don't think so, man. I mean, you saw Wemby do everything this season by himself to get them to 22 wins. Now, lifting the minutes restriction, I can say maybe 24 wins. Wemby will get them to another 2, 3, 25 possibly. But doing it all by himself, it's not going to happen. I mean, the team around him is a team of potential. That's what it is. Ask yourself, has Keldon hit his ceiling? Most people say he has. I think he's banging on the ceiling right now. Is he about to hit his ceiling? Possibly. We might have seen everything we've gotten out of Devin. We don't know yet. I mean, we really don't know how much more we can get out. Jeremy, what is the improvements of Jeremy? I mean, they tried the point guard position, didn't work. He's had spurts of greatness. You know, when I say greatness, he's had those 20-plus games, 20-point games. You've seen the spurts. It's got to be the consistency. Trey Jones, great backup. Great backup. They're a better team with Trey on the floor, but he's not a true starting point guard. So there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of prospects, that we can see. The production, the key word, the key word there, production. That's the one word that starts with P that you've got to keep in mind. The production from everybody else outside of Wemby wasn't there consistently. And that's where the improvements need to be made in the offseason. Getting guys in here who can be as productive with him night in and night out. We saw too much of the up and down. We saw the heart rate, where the heart goes up, beats down, up, down. That's the key word, is production. We can have potential. You can have the prospects. You have the prosperity when it comes to picks and all this other stuff and the cap space. But if there's no production from outside of Wemby, there's no 30-plus win season. That's just for me right there. And Sid, 32-plus, same team. Chemistry is better. We lost the midseason due to not being on the same page. They're cooking together. How we beat last year's chance. We beat Pacers. We can do this shit. I love the positivity. I really love the positivity. I do. I mean, again, I love the positivity just by my standards, by what I'm looking at from what I see, watching film, watching them play, studying a lot of the game film as well. I don't see the 32 plus. I see the ceiling is 30. For me, it's 30. The ceiling is 30 for me. But I have them at the round, like I said, the 27-28. I think they're good for another 5 to 6 wins. The chemistry will be better. I feel it will be better. We saw the chemistry get really well, and it started to rise at the end of the season. But the biggest thing is production. That's the key word, guys. Everybody out there, fellas, ladies, gentlemen, everybody out there. Production is the key word. They've got to have consistent production from everybody outside of Wemby, and that's going to be tough to find this offseason if they don't make moves, in my opinion. And you know what? The chemistry, like I said, it's going to be great, but production has to be there. He struggled so much early, and the minutes restriction was big. That did play a part into it, because when he was off minutes restriction, we saw a whole different side of Wemby. But I think even with minutes restriction there, that's why I say give them the extra 5 to 6 wins, put them to 27-28 wins is where I'm kind of seeing it. I think that's 5 to 6 more wins. I think it's playing it safe overall for me. That's where I kind of have them at the 27-28 as is. Maybe if they draft right, if I feel like those guys are going to make an instant impact, maybe I can get them to the 29 win mark. It's got to be tough for them to get into the playing spot. But again, like I've mentioned times, I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, and I very well could be. I'm not a fortune teller, as most people say. I just, I get lucky as is. So that's Spurs talk. We're going to get a lot more talk. We're going to talk to Derek Irvin this week as well when it comes to Spurs talk. But we've also, I'm going to go ahead and share something out for you guys out there, man, because I want to get your quick thoughts on this. This list came out. Let's shift gears here a little bit. This says Sweep the League. Rudy Campos Jr. We are back, guys. Let's talk a little MLB here. MLB is going to be MLB's kicking off here. Let's see. Give me a second here. I'm getting ready to share something for you guys, because I definitely want you guys' opinion on this right here. MLB came out here. So, top 10 baseball players of all time, according to ChatGPT. You've got guys like Babe Ruth, Willie Mays. Can't argue with any of those guys right there. Hank Aaron, Ted Williams, Ty Cobb, Mickey Mantle, Stan Musial, Lou Gehrig, Jackie Robinson, and Barry Bonds is their top 10. And the reason why I did bring this up is because Angel Hernandez is not an umpire no more. And it made me want to talk a little bit about baseball. So, hey, Angel Hernandez, the strike zone was as big as the stadium itself at some times. So it reminds me of Enrico Palazzo out of Naked Gun, where Leslie Nielsen, Frank Drebin was calling the umpiring that one game with the Angels, and I can't remember. I think the Mariners, the Angels, I think was what the game he was calling there. Shout out to for those y'all that know bit the Naked Gun scene where Enrico Palazzo was being the umpire for the MLB game. But nonetheless, man, Angel Hernandez is gone. So not saying the MLB umpiring will be better, but it should be a little bit better. Anyway, this top 10, my gripe with the top 10 is I have Nolan Ryan in there. You've got to put Nolan Ryan there. To me, Nolan, I mean, he's got two records that are probably never going to be broken. If you're thinking about it, never be broken. We're talking 7 no-hitters, first off, and the strikeouts. I mean, we're talking 5,714 career strikeouts. Nolan Ryan has to go down as one of the, if not the greatest pitchers of all time, but a top 10 MLB player. He's got to be a top 10 MLB player. There's no way that you can leave Nolan Ryan off of that list at all. There was a guy that mentioned on Twitter, he said that you should probably add Walter Johnson and Greg Maddux ahead of Nolan Ryan. I don't see it. I can't see that at all. I mean, Walter Johnson, maybe, yes. Maddux was one of the most technical pitchers I've ever seen play. And man, I mean, Maddux was a beast pitching, but I couldn't put Maddux ahead of Nolan Ryan at all. And I wasn't born to see Walter Johnson, so I couldn't really comment on Walter Johnson at all. But in my opinion, guys, I mean, I think you definitely have to have Nolan Ryan out there. I don't know much about MLB, but I heard Babe Ruth is overhyped. He played against plumbers and landscapers. Yeah, I guess apparently the JJ Reddit comments are coming out now about the plumbers and landscapers. I will say, you know, back in the Babe Ruth era, I mean, had players there, but it was era ball. I mean, I don't know if he was so much overhyped. Ruth was the Sultan of SWAT, the great Bambino, one of the greatest players of all time. I have no doubt that he deserves to be in the top 10. Speaking of Willie Mays, shout out to me on that, man. Let me know what you're thinking about on Willie Mays. The early season, Jeremy Fiasco, Wimby's first 30 games, struggled with something I think you won't see again. The rest of the team will buy it early. My so bought a much better opinion. I respect your comment, Nate. I really do. So, I mean, it could, again, the early season struggles could have played a big part in them getting to that 30 wins for that season, but who knows, man? You know, we really don't know. I think the best thing to do is before we decide on wins and how they look, let's see what the offseason looks like. That's kind of the way I address a lot of stuff, is going after the offseason, see what the team looks like, see what transactions were made, and then go from there, man. That's what I think. But getting back to MLB, you know, and I bring this up just because I really feel like Nolan Ryan needs to be there. Who do you bump off of this list? That's the hard part, because, I mean, to me, I'm a huge Giants fan. I love me Giants big time. I mean, you may think, well, Barry Bonds is my favorite Giant. No, Kevin Mitchell is my favorite Giant. Next to Matt Williams, Barry Bonds is there, number 3. Will Clark is number 4. Then we're talking, you know, my dad was a big Willie Mays fan. Willie Mays is another favorite Giant of mine. Orlando Cepeda. I mean, you're talking Bobby Bonds was a part of that. McCovey, you know, Musial is there. I mean, there's just so many great Giants players, but who do you bump off the list if you're adding Nolan Ryan? And man, I don't know, man. I mean, do you dare bump Barry? I mean, the most feared hitter in baseball of all time, Barry Bonds. I mean, Pete Rose could even make a case to be on this list as well. But I mean, I'm not too sure. I view it even, you could even take anybody off of this list. But for me, I do put Nolan Ryan in the top 10, probably bumping Barry Bonds. I mean, I don't know if we can really bump Stan Musial out. I'm not sure. Is Ohtani eligible for this already? Not yet, man. Ohtani's not eligible for this list. Definitely the best dual player I've ever seen. Babe Ruth was a guy that was pitching and hitting home runs at the same time, but not at the success rate that Ohtani has had. So He's not eligible yet, but I think when it's all said and done, Otani could be eligible. Got an auto ball at the last show, and you're not even giving it to me as a gift. That is terrible, man. Terrible. Nate's back in here. I respect your opinion too. We are really not far off 2 wins, give or take. Peace. Yeah. Appreciate it, Nate. Thanks for joining in tonight, man. We are not far off at all. I'm not here to bash anybody's opinion. I'm not here to make fun of people's takes or anything. This is a sports show by the people, for the people. Amen. We're all just trying to talk sports here. We don't need any drama, no issues, nothing like that. If there's any drama, I'll be glad to talk to people, whether it be on my show or somebody else's show. If you got issues with me, contact me. I will gladly step on your show, go on your show, and we'll smash it out there. If I got to come off hardcore, I'll come off hardcore. I don't really give a damn, but I respect your opinion, man. Hey, we are always going to agree to disagree sometimes. At the end of the day, we are all friends 100% of the time. So, yeah, that's my whole thing when it comes to MLB talk. I just want to get that in. But, man, I was not planning to be on here for this long. As it is, it's way past this old man's bedtime. Appreciate everybody, man, for coming out here. Sweep League is back. It's all part of the Sports Insanity Network. We have our own YouTube channel. I'll be sharing it out. Subscribe. Man, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. If we can get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to just list off stuff. We got lid stuff. I got a whole bunch of lid stuff to give away as far as gift cards goes. You can start rocking your caps. You can do all that. I'm going to hit up the USOA. For those of you guys out there, I'm going to try to get some t-shirts to give away from there. Not only that, I'm getting mudslinger stuff. We're doing some mudslinger stuff as well. So that's going to be coming too. You know, we got Burger Boy stuff lined up. You know, we've got the Burger Boy, the good eats lined up here. I gained like 10 pounds as I've lost weight, but that's because I'm not trying no more. But I mean, I'm gonna lose the weight again, but I still haven't eaten Burger Boy. We've got Burger Boy stuff lined up. We've got autograph stuff lined up. We've got a ton of stuff lined up. Get to 1,000, man. The more subscribers we have, the more we can give away, because that attracts a lot of our sponsors for us too. Shout out to a sponsor coming on, La Cocina in New Braunfels, Texas. That food truck gets the chef's kiss. It's amazing. Louis out there is going to take care of you. And you know what? Because you are a supporter of Sweep the League, we want you to support the guys that support us. La Cocina. Go support official Sherlyn on Instagram. Go support Burger Boy. Go support Mudslingers. Support Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia. There's so much out there. Support Lids. Support everything MCS General Contracting. I heard they're hiring. You guys need a job. Hit up MCS General Contracting. Those boys out there are the best in the business. We've got a lot more coming up. But for now, guys, I'm going to let you go. Thank you for hanging out with me talking Spurs basketball. This is Rudy Campos Jr. for Sweep the League. We're going to be back again this week. We're going to be coming to you all week. We've got content. We've got Gio. We've got Derek. We've got The Rock. We've got Austin Hartsfield making a comeback this week as well. We've got a whole lot of stuff lined up, guys. Appreciate you guys joining here. We'll see you guys later on.